Whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. Love our community that's hanging out beforehand. Of course, I am Nikki Medoro, and that is Kim McAllister. And we are here on this very, very smoky, Kim, Wednesday morning. I was telling Kim this story before we came on. I was listening to KCBS yesterday, driving around town, and they kept doing this news story about the smoke from the wildfires drifting into the North Bay in San Francisco. And all these people are like, it was clear when I went into the gym, and then I come out and all of a sudden it's smoky. And then it happened to me in San Jose. I was driving around with the kids. I drop off my son at parkour, and by the time I come back, I literally thought something was on fire. It didn't help, though, Kim, that I did see a fire truck. I was like, oh, there must be a fire somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering if somebody called 911, because that's what they kept saying. They're like, don't call 911. We understand there's smoke in the air. But once I kept driving and the haze just maintained everywhere, I was like, nah. And it was strong.
Yeah. They say it's
not
going to
good for
linger
you.
this morning and maybe stick around until at least Friday in parts of the Bay Area.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the live air quality map. Right a little, let's say, northwest of Cragmont, a little southeast of El Cerrito, there is one dot of black.
Ooh.
And that means it's hazardous between 301 and higher. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
There's an air quality advisory in place today. So they're asking people around the Bay Area to stay indoors, close windows. If you smell the smoke, don't go out there.
Yeah.
The air quality advisory is like a step down from a spare the air alert. So it's not quite a spare the air alert, but it's a, listen, we're advising you that things are pretty rough out there. Yeah.
Exactly. Stay inside. It's not worth getting, because it's just bad for you. Although I will say, and I'll agree with this, usually it happens a lot earlier, right? The wildfire season, thank God, I should knock on every piece of wood I own. It at least has been delayed. Not saying they're not going to come. Obviously, we have the wildfires in South Oregon, Northern California. But, usually around this time, we are blanketed in smoke. We've already passed that anniversary of the orange sky, remember? So, so just stay inside if you can, and, all those sorts of things that we're so used to as Californians. We are going to talk about some good news. Can I just show you the good news right now? Let's just start off with the good news. Are you ready?
I like that.
Are you ready? Here it is.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Oh, it's a little piece of, it's the banyan tree, right?
It is the banyan tree. So they were sharing this yesterday on their social media feeds. This is the banyan tree in Lahaina. It's a 1/4 mile circumference. That is nuts. But yeah, they sprouted its first new leaves since the wildfires. So that's giving everyone hope. But it's going to stay. And I just feel like this is so indicative of what we're hoping happens in Lahaina, right? It's yes, there's devastation. Yes, there's the char and just the tragedy all around Lahaina. But these little sprouts of the green leaves can hopefully, be a symbol of what's going to happen out there. So I loved seeing that yesterday, because that's what we want to see more of. And so fingers crossed that keeps coming. Of course I shut down my rundown. Okay. So
I hope that gives a lot of people hope.
Exactly. And so that was the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources that posted that video. And again, when we're seeing these devastating wildfires, we know what's causing the severity. Now, do wildfires happen? Yes. But when we're talking about like the flooding that we're seeing in Libya, like all these tragedies around the world, it's the intensity that matters. Nobody cares when it just rains regularly, but it's the amount of rain and how hard it's falling and how much is falling. That's what's causing the problems. And it's contributed by human-caused climate change. And I was going to talk about this, and I'm so glad that people were bringing it up, because I saw it this morning. We're going to touch on the White House launching an American Climate Corps. kind of like the Job Corps and those sorts of Peace Corps. Now it's going to have the Climate Corps. And let me know in the comments, because I did see, I think it was Square. You had mentioned earlier in the comments that your daughter dropped her environmental science major. I was an environmental science minor. It was a focus during my broadcast journalism degree. I focused in environmental science. Never really used it in that way, but I do like the fact of people learning about environmental science, and I like it that the White House is dedicated to obviously putting young adults, who again's future is going to be heavily impacted by climate change, into this type of climate core. At the same time, the UN Secretary General is coming out and saying we need to just stop funding fossil fuels. Need to stop giving businesses breaks on this sort of thing, because we're killing ourselves. It's like the pot is boiling and the frog is just not jumping out. So we'll touch on that. We're also going to touch a little closer to home. I think this is the first time in the nation that a city's DA is suing the city over homelessness. It's happening in Sacramento. And when we talk about this, I want you guys to, is it about time? Because I think that when we look at the camps and we see tents cropped up on the sidewalks and in front of businesses, a lot of us think to ourselves, I can't do that. I'm not supposed to do that. When did that become okay? Right? When did it become okay to do that? And I think that's kind of the point that the Sacramento DA is making, is we need to start enforcing our laws. But some people are saying this is just posturing. This is just, he's trying to, I don't know, make inroads, make political points. So we'll touch on that. And if it's about time that something like that happened. At the same time, Alameda County has authorized a state of emergency to deal with homelessness. TikTok is in the news. It is tracking its workers. And my question is, if you work for TikTok, don't you expect them to track you? I mean, isn't that the whole thing?
Yeah, I do.
TikTok
Yeah.
is constantly tracking. It's tracking everybody that uses the app, and now it's tracking its workers. And when I describe it, I'm like, well, I mean, yes, it's kind of creepy, right? But it doesn't surprise me. So you guys let me know if it surprises you. They've also, TikTok has launched a new tool to deal with AI. And of course, AI is one of the sticking points in the writers' strike, and talks are set to resume today. We have a bunch of other stuff to talk about. There's a couple of retirees, apparently. They have received the world's most drone deliveries.
Oh,
And yeah, it's pretty interesting. And then if we have time, I want to touch on it today. How far would you go to give your kid a leg up in college? And I know we talk about this all the time, but would you move your entire family? Let's say if you lived in New York City to Kentucky. I'll tell you why some families are doing that. It's quite interesting. And, this isn't, oh, I'm going to pay somebody to give tutoring. This is a significant decision. I'm going to leave New York City to move to Alabama or Kentucky just because I think it'll give my kid a leg up in getting into college. So we'll talk about all of that and so much more. But first, let's click the thumbs up button to show your support of the show. It helps us. It helps YouTube find us and other people on YouTube find us. And it's a great way to support. Also, the super chat is live. If you click the $ under the live chat box, you can throw us a super sticker, a super thanks, a super comment. If you do it during the live show, we'll read your comment live on air. And yeah, it's a great way to show us during the show that you like what you're hearing and you want us to continue doing it. And even if you watch it on replay, we do go back and we get those notifications as well. And we appreciate it so very much. The number one way I remind you guys to support the show and make sure that we're here for many years in the future is to become a monthly Patreon subscriber. And it's easy, and you have control over how much you spend every single month in supporting the show. So just go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com. The Patreon link is there. You decide the amount that you'll pay one time a month. And thank you to those who have recently bumped up their monthly donation. They've decided that they can afford a little bit more. And again, it's only once a month. And the money goes directly to me and to Kim. And we really appreciate it. A reminder, the raffle is underway. Lisa, if you're listening, I sent you your second confirmation. You guys maybe check your spam boxes or what have you. But Lisa, if you're listening right now or watching on replay, I sent you your second confirmation. So what are we doing? We are doing a 1-year anniversary fundraiser. I'm going to do this online raffle drawing. on our 1-year anniversary that's coming up October 17th. So you have a couple of weeks to buy your raffle tickets. You could buy as many as you want. It's $20 a ticket, and you will win hundreds of dollars worth of a box of my favorite things. Some are small things, some are bigger things. If you live within 50 miles of San Jose, I'll also deliver it personally to you. So you'll get to meet. We can take a picture. You can put it on the side like I do with Matthew McConaughey if you want to. But if you're farther than that, don't worry about it. I will obviously ship it to you as well. So if you want to get your raffle tickets, buy them now. Just go to PayPal, hit send, and you just put in the email, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. And that's it's really simple. Tickets are $20, but put on the submission, it's for the raffle, and the best email to reach you. Please include your email. I can message you through PayPal. So if you haven't heard from me, check PayPal as well. But I want your email. So if you win, I can notify you. There's the other direct paypal.me/the Nikki Medoro Show if you just want to type it in to your browser. And again, my email address is the same, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. You can find our Patreon link at the NikkiMedoroShow.com and all that stuff there. And thank you to everyone that's been really early and buying and snatching up those raffle tickets, because it's going to be a good time. And I can't wait for you guys to see what I've included in the box. All right. We are going to talk climate change. We are going to talk about homelessness. We are going to talk about all sorts of things. But first, we have to take a look at the headlines with Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Pretty smoky out there, as Nikki was mentioning earlier. Also, we've got some fire danger of our own. Forget the smoke. We might see some fire. Well, today, PG&E is considering public safety power shutoffs that would impact more than 4,200 customers in 8 Northern California counties. The power shutoffs would impact people in Butte, Colusa, Glen, Lake, Napa, Shasta, Tehama, and Yolo counties. 2 tribal communities as well, the Grindstone Rancheria and Pitt River tribes, may also be impacted. This comes with wildfire conditions in the forecast, including gusty winds, low humidity that are expected to last through Thursday morning. The public safety power shutoffs, if ordered, would start by 6 p.m. Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee are grilling Attorney General Merrick Garland. Ohio Republican Jim Jordan today accusing the Justice Department of protecting President Biden and his son Hunter while illegitimately targeting former President Trump. Democrats, meanwhile, argued Jordan's claims have been proven wrong, and yet still he gets up there and yaps and spreads them anyway.
I mean, I don't know. Jim Jordan sucks. I mean, if there was like a level of sucking, he's near the top. It's as I think the thing that frustrates me is they always talk about, oh my God, it's a witch hunt against President Trump. Although we provide evidence, right? I mean, like there's literal evidence. There was hours and hours of a hearing in which evidence was laid out, and the evidence was provided by Republicans, right?
Mm-hmm.
By members of Trump's own team. That is called evidence, Jim Jordan. Please find the evidence. If it's there, show it, of President Biden directly tied to what you're accusing Hunter Biden of. Please.
No evidence.
I am
they
waiting.
Don't have any evidence.
I am waiting.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. More than 6 weeks after the deadly wildfire on Maui, there are still discrepancies between the official narrative and eyewitness accounts. Some people say their vehicles were directed away from escape routes because of downed power lines. But Hawaiian Electric has maintained that its lines were de-energized more than 6 hours before the fire started to quickly spread through the historic town of Lahaina. So if that's true, then why were people being turned away? So there's some discrepancies
turning these
there.
people away? Was it the electric company workers, or was it just people that saw maybe power lines down and assumed they were energized?
We don't know. We assume it was
that's what
authorities. We don't know, right?
Yeah,
there
that's
were
crazy.
Barricades put up. We know there were barricades put up as well.
Well, you know that commercial that PG&E puts out, if you see a down power line, assume that it's energized, right? So and I'm not making excuses, I don't know, but I could see that happening. Like you see a down power line, you're like, wait, you can't go that way because we're trained to think that it's energized. So maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Well, also, I mean, you just heard me read the story about the potential for public safety power shutoffs.
Yeah.
They didn't have that there. So the messaging was flawed. Because if they turned the power lines off, if they de-energized the lines 6 hours before the fire started, then why didn't they tell people that then?
Yeah, that's true. But the Yeah, the messaging system might have been down as well. I don't know. I mean, it's just it's mistake on top of mistake on top of mistake. In all
That's right.
honesty, yeah.
Yep. A spokesperson for Donald Trump Jr. confirms his X account, Twitter, was hacked this morning. A post just before 8:30 a.m. Eastern on Trump Jr.'s account claimed the former President Trump had died and would not be running for president in 2024. Another post said North Korea is about to get smoked. This is all on Donald Trump Jr.'s account. He says,
Oh my
no.
God. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. And it
Yeah.
says, I'm sad to announce my father, Donald Trump, has passed away. I will be running for president in 2024. That's it. 2 sentences. Like that. If that was true, like that is brutal, right? Like that's all Donald Trump Jr. can think of. Nothing else about his dad. My dad died. I'm running for president. Screw you guys.
Oh my God. You know what? I don't wish people ill will.
No,
And
of
I would
course not.
never wish harm to befall someone. But I wouldn't say that message were real. I would be crying tears over it either.
I always say I don't wish death on anybody. I just want him to go away. In whatever way that God decides that needs to be, I'm so fine with. Like I'm not saying death. I'm not saying any of that.
Right.
I just want him to go away.
I
That's
was
it.
reading a story yesterday that Rupert Murdoch, apparently, this according to sources that are close to him and his biographer, someone writing a book, he does wish ill health on Donald Trump. He wishes
That's not nice.
death upon
Bad
him.
juju. That's bad juju. You don't do
That's how
that.
I feel. Like I was always taught, no, you never.
No.
I mean, that comes back to you. You don't want to do that kind of.
You do not put out into the universe what you don't want to get back tenfold.
No,
so
we
do
don't
not
wish
do that.
ill health on anybody, not us. Nope. Mm-mm. A Tesla supplier from Taiwan is building its first U.S. factory in New Mexico. Gear company Hoda Industrial Manufacturing says it will invest $99 million to build its first plant outside Asia, and that construction will begin early next year in the town of Santa Teresa near the Mexican border. New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham says the state will provide $3 million in funding and possible tax credits as well. Dozens of pro-Armenian protesters have blocked a freeway in Los Angeles for the second time in the last 2 months. The group walked onto southbound 101 near downtown Los Angeles late last night to call attention to the ongoing conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Some people were holding large banners that read, "Joe Biden, don't ignore us." Witnesses say this man who died in the stands Sunday night at the New England Patriots game was punched twice in the head.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Oh,
I saw
man.
that video.
Witnesses report that a man in a Miami Dolphins jersey struck 53-year-old Dale Mooney, who collapsed and didn't move after hitting the ground. The man was escorted from the stands by police. No charges have been filed at this time, all under investigation there.
Yeah, when I was looking at the video, and it was like crowd video, so I didn't really want to show it. And I don't like to elevate stuff like that necessarily. But, and again, I'm not there and I'm just watching kind of a shaky video. It didn't necessarily look like he was hit that hard, but at the same time, the angle was kind of bad. But again, if it was the hit or the hit on the ground, it's a football game, people. It is a football game. Deion Sanders had come out, who's Deion Sanders, right? About this college football player that's been getting death threats because he made a hit and it was an illegal hit on another player. And he's like, we need to stop. Like, you know what? Like, I've forgiven the player. The person that was hit has forgiven the player. Like, we need to stop making sports so freaking important that one, you get into fights at the stadium that you just paid buku bucks to go see the game. Like, really? You're going to get arrested or tragically die? Do you know what these football players do after they might win or lose a game? They might go out and play with the other team. They're friends. It's not as, life or death for them as it is for so many of these fans. Like, take a collective breath. It's a game, people. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. And it reminds me of, remember Brian Stowe?
Yes, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Absolutely.
It's like, over what? Just so ridiculous. And his whole life changed because of that moment. It's just,
crazy.
it's frustrating. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is urging former President Trump to share his peace plan on how to end Russia's war on Ukraine. Trump running, of course, for the GOP presidential nomination and has claimed he could cut a deal between Zelensky and Russian leader Vladimir Putin to end the war within 24 hours.
Of course.
Well, in an
That's
interview...
what he always says. I mean, come on, learn a new line, man.
I could fix it in 24 hours. Very good. It would be the best. In an interview with Tuesday, Zelensky called on Trump, share his idea now. Don't waste time or lose people. The Ukrainian leader said, though, if the idea is how to take part of our territory and give it to Putin, that is no peace formula. So no can do.
Exactly. He's like, oh, I'll fix it. Just to give Russia what they want, Ukraine. It's like, no, man, go away.
The Federal Reserve policymakers are expected to leave interest rates at current levels, leave them right where they are, when the central bank issues its quarterly update today. The Fed watchers see the funds rate staying at the current range of 5.25% to 5.5%. The Fed has raised interest rates 11 times since March of last year.
Hey, at least they didn't raise it again. I mean, not that I do understand that, people want to see these rates go down, but thank God they didn't raise it again. I don't know. I mean, it's 11 times. 11 times.
11 times.
Wow, that is crazy.
Hey, this will please you.
Oh, good. I like being pleased.
An age limit. I didn't do it, but I can't take credit.
Okay. An age limit on?
An age limit for politicians is being proposed in Congress, but it's not sitting well with some older lawmakers.
No crap. Really?
Texas's Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee is 73 years old. She would only have 2 years left under this proposal, which would cap political service at age 75. Politicians' age has come into the spotlight thanks to health scares from Senators Dianne Feinstein and Mitch McConnell as of late. So we'll see where this...
75. All right, people,
75.
Let me know in the comments. What do you think about 75? 75. I mean... I'm going to go back and I'm not going to rehash this because I got all emotional about it. And people were like, calm down, Nikki. But I will say this. You want to bet that if it passes, whatever that lawmaker's name is that you just mentioned is going to put her butt in high gear and get something passed that she wants to. People work great on deadlines. When you can just keep the job till you croak, right? There's no deadline. Like, work. Come on, get it passed. I know people think that I'm being ageist. I know people think that it's discriminatory. I think 75 is a perfectly fine age to move on from politics. You're still spry enough to help the next generation of politicians. It doesn't mean you can't work, but whatever. I agree. You have my vote. 75, fine.
Okay, there it is. You've spoken.
Eric does not agree. Like, if you're mentally competent at 75, no reason to stop. There's also no reason to keep going. Why can't you just help the next person? I mean, we're talking politics here. We're talking about understanding things. And what is the definition, Eric, of mentally competent? I mean, really, like, do you fully understand? Let's say, for instance, because it's totally an iconic moment. Do you understand how Facebook makes money? Do you understand AI? Do you use these tools that you are now supposed to make legislation about? Now, I'm not saying you can't learn or that your staff can't explain it to you in a way that you understand, but there is nothing wrong with putting an age limit on politicians who are making laws, who have a lot of power in this country. I just don't understand. I'm mentally competent at 30, right? Why can't I be president of the United States? I can't. I have to be 35. Mm-hmm. Why? I mean, that's an arbitrary age if you think about it. I can go to war. I can have kids. I'll be buying homes. I'm a taxpayer. But no, 35. Nobody has a problem with that. But 65, oh my goodness gracious. No, 75 is fine.
75. That's it. You're out on your ass. Doesn't matter what you've done. Doesn't matter how confident you are. You're gone.
They are fine. If you're in politics at 75, you're rich. And that's a problem too.
When you look at the most of the presidents we've had and their age, you'd really discount a lot of people there that have done a lot of good.
And I'm not taking that away from them. Just because you've done a lot of good doesn't mean you still can't, help with policy. You don't think that having former President Barack Obama come out and speak about legislation or urge people to do something doesn't impact voters? Of course it does. Go out there, hit the campaign trail if you're so friggin' spry. Like, nobody's stopping you from sharing your expertise, but you have to be in the Capitol. You have to have your name on a bill. Give me a friggin' break. Ego. I've said it a million friggin' times. They don't want to leave Washington because they don't know what to do with themselves. Just go be a lobbyist like the rest of them do. Like, stop it already.
Graffiti is becoming a bigger issue in the San Francisco area. Residents say not only do instances of tagging seem to have increased on public property, more and more taggers are hitting private property these days too. The city's graffiti abatement team officials agree with that. They say they've seen nearly 75% increase in graffiti incidents on private property from just a couple of years ago. Officials are quick to blame the pandemic for the rise in graffiti in San Francisco, saying many tagging incidents were left unattended because of COVID, and taggers got more and more bold and started tagging more and more stuff. So that's what happened there.
Well, speaking of tagging, I was going to bring it up later, but I'll just bring it up because you're talking about it. Did you hear about the UC president Michael Drake's Berkeley home? Apparently, it's been a target of racist graffiti.
Yeah,
and so he wanted. See, this is the thing, which is like, okay, this is the problem with higher education and funding higher education. So apparently, Drake wanted UC Regents, to buy a nearly $13 million home in Piedmont because his Berkeley home was the target of vandals. They said no. 7 regents voted no. They argued that the price alone doesn't make a home secure. Now, the university already spent $6.5 million in private donations to buy the home on Claremont Boulevard where Drake and his family live. But of course, like I mentioned, it's been a target of vandals. 6.5. Why do you see? This is my problem. This is my problem. It's as if, well, we have to buy him a $6.5 million house because Drake brings a level of expertise to the UC and we need him. No, I want to hire someone with expertise that doesn't need a 6.5 or a $13 million home. And they justify, like, we need it to be competitive or not. Or you don't have to. I don't like the amount of money we put towards, these administrators and presidents and everything like that. It's too much money. And then you look at these college students who are not making money and be like, you have to pay us more for this. That's where you get the money. Stop buying friggin' homes for people that are $6.5 to $13 million. How about that?
I like it. Alameda County supervisors are declaring a state of emergency over the homeless crisis in that area. Supervisors voted yesterday to declare a state of emergency, which allows them access to more funding to try and house thousands of people who are on the streets of Alameda County currently. The number of homeless people around the county is up roughly 75% in just the last 5 years.
That's crazy. I mean, I just wonder, I know that it releases some funds and tools and stuff like that to help with homelessness, and we'll get into this also because when we talk about the Sacramento DA suing the city of Sacramento over homeless encampments, I still maintain, and you guys let me know what you think when we talk about it, we waste too much money. You know what I mean? So I don't know if declaring a state of emergency and releasing all these tools, if the oversight is enough to say it's going to the right place. Like,
it really
just
doesn't
seems
seem
it's so much money.
No matter how much we throw at it, it gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
We're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong.
I don't know what we're supposed to do, but yeah, we're definitely not doing it right, Kim. We're not doing it right.
No. Several agencies and farm staff in the state of Pennsylvania are still working to recover as many as 800 minks that officials say were released from a fur farm. The incident happened at the Richard H. Stahl Sons Farm outside Sunbury early Sunday. Police say someone cut holes in the fence that surrounds the farm to let these animals escape. But a local veterinarian who works with the owners says those creatures are confused and hungry, and they have no idea how to survive outside. Not clear who released the animals. The incident is still under investigation, but right now, 800 minks are wild and free.
I mean, but do they know how to take care of themselves? Like, did we just like free them to their deaths because they have no comprehension of how to take care of themselves?
It looks that way.
That is sad. I mean, I understand, like, you don't want minks killed for their fur, right? I mean, that's what I would assume is the whole point of it, right? But you're killing them anyway because they don't know how to survive in the environment in which you just released them into.
Yeah.
Sad.
I agree. Sad. Parents whose children made unauthorized purchases on the popular video game Fortnite can now try to get a refund.
Oh,
The
good
Federal,
luck.
the Federal Trade Commission is now accepting applications for refunds through its $245 million settlement with the makers of that game. Last year, the FTC accused game maker Epic Games of making it easy for children to rack up charges without parental consent.
Have you ever had that happen to you?
No, my kids don't play Fortnite.
I think Dylan did for a little bit, but not really. My daughter likes Roblox. I have the settings, and I don't understand why this doesn't work for some parents. If they want to buy anything, I have to approve it. Like I get a notification on my phone
Right.
that they need my help, right? Like they need to say approve or disapprove. I don't understand why parents don't have that on the phone.
I don't know, but I can say that if my kids know that if something like that happened with Roblox and they bought stuff that was not okayed by us and they just went on a spending spree, they would no longer have Roblox.
Exactly. Like,
So
oh, you lost that now. There you go.
I'm not saying that Fortnite didn't try to make it easier for kids to spend money and didn't entice them over and over again to want to buy little legs up in the game and whatever else. And I think that was part of that lawsuit, is that what they were doing to kids and the way they were trying to get kids to spend more money was unfair. So I don't know. Last year, the FTC accused the game maker Epic Games of making it easy for children to rack up these charges without parental consent. Something different was happening with that game than happening with other games.
Interesting.
And lastly, have you ever heard of this website, Soft Surroundings?
No.
You don't get the catalog for Soft Surroundings? All right. Well,
Is it clothing?
it's clothing and like bedspreads and things
Softy
that are
stuff?
soft and cozy
Okay.
and lovely.
Do you get
Well,
it?
I get this. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it now.
No.
I do get it. I'll say it seems like it's geared for more toward the older lady. Not older, but like I would say 40 and up. Like the clothing
Hey.
is just, it's not, I don't know, it's not young and hip. It's
Right.
it's
comfy.
classy.
Okay.
It's also expensive. So,
Okay.
I might be in the market for a skirt that's 40 or $50 and they're trying to charge me $250 or $187 for a skirt. And I'm like, yeah.
No.
But I will say they have some really, really pretty things. So maybe I'm their customer and I'm old now. I think that's what happened, is I got old now.
No.
Soft Surroundings is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, trying to reorganize the company. So
Did they do something wrong, or is it just not? It's
no,
a competitive
it's
field.
just very competitive. They're just not making as much money as they need to make for a company of their size. And times are, rough out here.
Yeah,
it's hard
my
out
mom-
here for Soft Surroundings.
My mom is a huge catalog shopper.
Mm-hmm.
The mailman hates her because and I'm not exaggerating. And then Christmas time, oh Lord have mercy, like so many catalogs, and my mom buys stuff from them. She hates shopping, and so she buys. But that's kind of probably her. I wonder if
Soft
she's heard of it.
Surroundings?
I'm gonna ask her, yeah, because she gets all, and it's that it's the jackets with the prints and all that kind. I'm not there yet. I'm
Well,
definitely not there yet.
Soft Surroundings has retail stores and they're shutting down all 44
All of
of them.
I've
All
never
across
heard of
the
it
country.
before.
There was one in Santa Rosa at Montgomery Village. That one is being closed. But yeah, it's because of they're just not doing well financially. And I would argue it's because your stuff is too expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then you have to balance it. It's like, well, we have to charge that much because we're not selling enough. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and I'll also say this. I was just reading an article, and I know it's different, but it's kind of the same quality. So if you buy, I'm assuming, and I don't know, I've never shopped there, but I bet the clothes they make are good quality clothes.
Very good.
It's not that fast fashion. So it's going to last you probably the rest of your life if you take care of it, right? And it's
It
the same for
will.
furniture. Like this desk, right? It was like a couple of $100, but it's particle wood. It's not solid wood. You
Don't
wanna get
expect it to
good-
last for the long haul. Yeah.
I mean, it will if I take care of it, but if I keep dinging it and moving it around and taking it apart, probably not. But solid wood furniture is expensive, but it's expensive in the moment. It'll last you though. And so what people decide to spend their money on at the forefront, it's hard. And people like fast fashion because they like to change their clothes all the time. So
So here's how it looks for the soft surroundings fans in the crowd here.
Okay.
They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last week. They announced plans to close all 44 of their retail stores. The company's remaining assets were acquired by Coldwater Creek, very similar brand, right?
Okay, yes. My mom definitely shops there.
So Coldwater Creek plans to continue to sell soft surroundings apparel and accessories online and via catalogs. And so, yeah, we'll still be able to get the soft surroundings stuff if that's your thing.
Yeah.
My stepmom really likes soft surroundings, so I usually buy her a gift card for her birthday. Still wearing clothing I bought there 20 years ago. Yeah, very very high quality. They have a lot of very interesting coats and cardigans and
When you say interesting, what do you mean?
things you wouldn't find anywhere else.
Okay, so like not like basic type of looking things.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell if something came from there, I would say.
Okay.
It's not like, it's not your run of the mill, I walked by Target and saw it on the end cap. It's not that.
Right. And I will say this, if you go to Soft Surroundings or Coldwater Creek or whatever these places charging and you really like it, and you see, my problem with spending a lot of money on clothing is, am I going to want to wear this for the long haul? Like, it's good quality. I want to keep it. You know what I mean? But is it versatile enough to go with the trends? Because you also don't want to look, I mean, it's for a certain age, you said, but like old or not hip, you know what I mean? Like, or just, I don't know, a couch. Clothing to me speaks to personality. Is my personality going to be these clothes for the next 10, 20 years? I don't know.
I shouldn't say it's for a certain.
Oh, that's not bad. I like that outfit.
I would say it's for the 40 and over set. I mean, it's not like, Julia and Marley aren't going to be trying to get in the soft surroundings, right?
Right. But I could see, I mean, that what you're showing. Okay, I wouldn't wear that dress on the right. No, no. Let's see. I wouldn't wear the first black dress right there.
It's definitely for a more mature lady, right?
Do you wear animal print?
No, never.
You've never worn animal print?
Okay, now here we get into this. Listen, I know a lot of people like animal print, and I say more power to you. If you like animal print, go get it. I personally find animal prints to be, I'm sorry, you guys, hate me if you want to, cheap, tacky, and whore-like.
Yeah.
Yep, I said it.
Whore-like.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like if I was going to dress up for Halloween as a hooker, that is when I would seek out an animal print. But this is what I mean. I'm sorry if I offended anyone by saying that. This is what I mean by like interesting jackets and coats.
Yeah, but are you going to wear that for a decade?
You would probably keep it and, would never really go out of style. And yeah, it's one of those interesting things that you have. And this nice masterpiece duster costs $240. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay, but I wouldn't spend $240 on it.
But again, you would have that. Like my mom, she buys clothes from these types of places, and I will tell you, like she takes care of her clothes, and she's had things forever. Like she'll wear something, I'm like, oh, is that new? She's like, oh no, I've had this for decades. Like I'm just, she doesn't pull it out every day. I have a set number of clothes, and I wear them till they die. Right?
Yeah.
Like I've had this shirt. This shirt, it says eat, sleep, radio, repeat. Brett got me this when I got my morning show. So this is a few years old. I've said before, I've had t-shirts that I'll look at Facebook memories and I'm still wearing, but I'm a t-shirt and jeans kind of girl. I'm not I'm going to get a nice floral print long jacket and have it for decades. I'm just not going to do that, So, but animal print, I think I've had a couple of tops that had a very tame animal print. It wasn't whore-like. It wasn't low cut necessarily. I'm trying to think if I still have it. I don't think I still have it. But no, I'm not a huge animal print person either. What about like snake skin boots?
No,
or like
tacky. In my view, animal print. If I was gonna dress up like a hooker for Halloween, this is where I would go. I would wear a animal print tank top and a leather mini skirt, and that would be my thing. See, I find it, I just don't like it. But other people wear, like I have my best friend loves animal print. It's her thing. And so she's got silk blouses with cheetah prints and all these things. She knows I can't stand it, but she really loves it. So I say more power to you. If you love it, ignore me completely.
Of course. And to each their own, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
some things I would never wear. And again, even if it doesn't have animal print, you might look at that catalog of soft surroundings and be like, I would not be caught dead in any of that. And it's
Right.
not that there's anything specifically wrong. It's just not your style. So
It's
there you
just
go.
it's not my bag. I hate to, but yeah, I have a thing
Not my
against animal
bag,
print.
baby.
I have a thing against all animal prints. I mean, sometimes you see people put animal prints on their couch pattern,
Yes.
or like they'll have a rug that's animal print. And
Oh,
it's
yeah, or like a
oh,
pillow or something. And it just kind of brings a different
horrifying.
texture or design to the area.
I find it to be so incredibly tacky.
I just find that to be incredibly
I
tacky.
sound like the biggest, most horrible bitch on the planet. I know,
No,
it's
you're
true.
allowed to have your opinion. You know what? Style and taste is individual, right? So, and that's fine. Just don't, like, obviously if somebody wears it like your best friend, you're like, you look like a whore. No, don't do that.
Oh, I can see we're hooking again today. Excellent.
There you go. Nice
Nicely
hooker
done.
outfit, friend. There you go.
How about cowhide print? Asked Liz Riley.
No,
Cow-
only if I'm going to dress up for Halloween as a cowgirl.
like a cowgirl, right? Mhm.
Yeah.
No, some people like to wear the cowgirl print on a daily basis. That's good. See, I think that's dress up kind of stuff. I wouldn't say cowhide
Exactly.
print is whore-like, but I would say it's definitely Western wear.
Is flamingo with a palm tree an animal print? Ooh,
No.
interesting.
No,
There's an animal on it, but
it has to be like fake animal skin. Right?
like you are the animal.
Yes.
Like it is how you are dressing as the
Leopard
animal.
print,
Your
cheetah
skin,
print,
Yes.
snake skin, like that kind of thing.
That is
Yeah,
so
mhm.
funny. Okay.
No, horse. Vicky says whores are people too.
They are, Vicky.
Hey,
no
you know
truer
what?
words have ever been said.
Whenever I see something that I think is really ugly
I
out
make
in
that
a
a
store,
cup. I feel like that needs to be on a cup.
I
Did you drink
think
out of a cup that says that?
whores are people too. I feel like that's really funny. I feel like they make things for everyone.
Yeah.
But if you have great taste or if you have really bad taste, who's to say that my taste is any better than
course.
anybody else's? So
Absolutely.
all the ugly things are made because guess what? Somebody buys it.
Yep.
There's
That's
somebody
what they
out
do.
there snapping it up. There's somebody out there snapping up that animal print as fast as they can print it out.
Exactly. I mean, some people
anyway.
just love that crap. So yeah, to each their own.
I am done with my newscast. We digressed onto animal prints, but I will say this show is crowdfunded. Rest assured, any monies that you contribute toward the Nikki Medoro Show will
Won't
not
go
be
to animal
spent
print.
on animal print anything, ever. We rely on you to crowdfund the show. You can find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon and PayPal links are there, and we thank you for being part of the Nikki Medoro Show. I'm Kim
Thank
McAllister
you.
on the Nikki Medoro Show.
There you go. Not wearing our animal prints. I'm trying to see. I'm like, wow, if I could find what I had, I'll totally wear it tomorrow, but I don't think so because I just moved. So I kind of feel like I know all of my clothes right now. And I think I got rid of that animal print. I think it was a shirt. But yeah, I'm not much of an animal. Animal print needs to stay in the 80s. Was that when it was popular? I feel like it might have been earlier than that, but yeah, I'm not an animal print person. Not doing it. It's not my bag, baby. Not my bag at all. Yeah, I think you have a lot of support for that, Kim. I think to wear animal print is also a reflection of your personality. Not that you're a horror personality, but just that you like to live on the edge, right? Like you probably have an outgoing personality. I don't think introverts, right, wear animal print or anything like that.
Yeah.
Meredith says it looks cheap looking. Yeah, it can. I have never seen a fancy cheap looking one.
Tony in San Antonio, he's
Tony.
losing respect for me. Oh no,
Do you
Tony.
like the animal print, Tony? Do you like it on yourself? Do you like it on women? Is this? I feel like there's something here, like, there's a connection to the animal print for Tony.
You know who loves animal print is Noe Marie. Loves animal print.
Really?
To
My
the
old boss
point where
did too. Yeah.
she will seek it out, and she has it for her children, like her daughter, dresses for her daughter.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
she really, really loves it. And again, I say, if that's the case, then rock on, man.
Walnut Creek. What if animal wore a people print? Yeah, that would be disturbing. And thank you, Cynthia, for a
Yay.
$10 donation to our super chat. You are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, if you want to be like Cynthia and throw some dollars our way, just look for the $ under the live chat box where you guys have way too much fun. I absolutely love it. Jim says, well, you guys just made me throw away my animal print Speedo. You're welcome. I don't know. Although, Jim, the Speedo is another thing. It's for certain people of a certain type of personality, and I am not going to yuck that yum, my friend.
No.
I will not be doing that. All right. Let's move on. Oh, okay. This is a question. I want to touch on this just briefly because we were talking about climate change and the White House creating this American Climate Corps. Has anyone in the comments done Peace Corps or Job Corps, or have their kids mentioned doing something like that? Kim, what would you say if, let's say Julia, because she's in high school, so she'll be the first one, is like, you know what? I'm not ready for college. High school drained me. I want to live life a little bit. I'd like to join either the Peace Corps or the Job Corps. Or the Climate Corps. Let's say that.
I would be concerned because usually when you join the Peace Corps, you're going to some dangerous place. Not always, but sometimes. But at that point, she'd be 18.
Yeah.
And she'd be able to make her own choices. And I would be proud of her for contributing to the world and doing something that she believed in.
Yeah. So they were talking about the American Climate Corps. They compared it to President FDR's Civilian Conservation Corps, which was created as part of the New Deal in 1933. Let's see. Varshini Prakash, is the head of the environmental group Sunrise Movement. And he's quoted as saying, just as FDR Civilian Conservation Corps put millions to work repairing bridges, planting trees, and building national parks, this Climate Corps will conserve our land and water, bolster community resilience, advance environmental justice, and tackle the climate crisis. I think I feel just as you would. I mean, on one hand, especially if it was the Climate Corps, I would love it, right? I mean, it's just like you get to work, you get to make a difference, those sorts of things. The Peace Corps, I feel you on that. Where are you going? How safe it is. And then with the Job Corps, and correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody has an experience, the Job Corps, I remember somebody, and I could be completely wrong, saying it's for students that don't know what the hell they want to do with their lives, which is fine, right? I mean, you go out, you try all these jobs, but I don't have very much experience because none of my family members or friends ever participated in the Job Corps. But it could be this way of tasting life, if there's that's kind of a weird way of saying it, but just going out there, seeing what it's like to work, hard work, right? At times, being in an environment in which you don't know anybody, perhaps. Randy asks, exactly how is the Climate Corps going to tackle climate change? What specifically are they going to do? Okay, well, it literally was just created. But when President Biden made his announcement, he said it's going to employ 20,000 young adults, and they'll build trails, plant trees, and help install solar panels and other work to boost conservation and help prevent catastrophic wildfires. So they're going to put them to work. They're going to rake the forest or do whatever, right? They're going to do the things that need to happen. And so I don't see any problem with that. I think it's a good idea. And it did just get announced today, Randy. So I would imagine more details are coming. And as people join it, it could also evolve, right? Vilma says, I think civil service should be mandatory for all young people 18 to 24. It can be Peace Corps, Job Corps, helping nonprofits in the U.S. Randy is a little pessimistic this morning. Oh, sure. I want some untrained person installing solar panels on my house. They did use the word help, so I would assume it would be assistance. I don't know. Don't knock it until we see what the details are and all the training that's involved. But we need manpower, right? That's what we want, and we want kids of an earlier age to get the needed skills to progress in life. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, also pessimistic this morning. You mean they'll supervise migrants doing the labor? I don't know. I mean, we could bring that into the conversation.
I don't think anybody said that, but okay.
I don't think anybody said that at all. I don't know that one. The AmeriCorps, I'm assuming you're saying Vista. I've never heard of that one. Debbie, though, says, I've been a leader in YCC Youth Conservation Corps, and the National Park Service sponsors the Young Adult Conservation Corps. Yellowstone has a great program. And she said she's biased because I live there. Okay, but still, at least you have some experience with it. I don't think it's, yeah, exactly. Kevin puts it perfectly. Think positive, people. We have to do something. We need hands. We need an effort. And we need an administration that's dedicated to not talking crap about climate change, human-caused climate change, and wanting to do something about it. I don't see anything wrong with trying to make an effort, because what? We put manpower toward environmental causes and we have a hopefully cleaner environment. I'm all for that. I am all for that.
I'm reminded of some of the Youth Conservation Corps projects. And I don't know if you've ever been to the mountain play on Mount Tamalpais.
No, I have not.
But they have this old stone amphitheater, and it was built by young people with the Youth Conservation Corps in the 30s. I want to say the 1930s,
Wow.
1920s, 1930s.
Okay.
And it's amazing. And I know that they've put out literature on the historic, it's what's now a historic amphitheater.
Okay.
Saying that the people that built it, that hauled all the stones up to, Mount Tamalpais from wherever they were sourced from, felt the sense of accomplishment for building this thing that has stood the test of time and been something that brought the community together, this amphitheater. I think it's when you have kids looking for a way to contribute or looking for where their place is in society, that you have that time after high school when you can kind of flounder around and not know what's next for you. So to be involved in a project like that you will spend your whole life looking back on and remembering that you helped build it, that you helped contribute to something good, there's something to that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, and you hear this often. It's just like you were talking about, that sense of accomplishment. Like, I put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and I could see it, and it's still standing. And if I was part of that, the pride in being part of something like that. John writes in, sounds exactly like what the Civilian Conservation Corps did back in the day.
Right.
My grandfather was in the CCC, and they did amazing work. It was instrumental in his life, and he loved his time there. So see, I think that's a great thing. And again, we need dedicated efforts toward combating climate change, because the truth of the matter is, even though the UN Secretary General has come out and said, we need to stop, subsidizing fossil fuels and what have you, it's not looking good as a globe, as a planet, right? In getting climate change under control. I'm just going to say it doesn't look good. And so we are going to need hands to help rebuild communities devastated by climate change. We're going to need to plant trees. We're going to need to do all of these things. And that takes people, one, understanding the facts surrounding climate change, and two, young enough to go out there and do this very hard work, right? So I think it's a good idea. And I really hope that it works. And I get what you're saying, Randy. He says, I just had hoped that if we created a new organization, that we'd have some specifics on what they were going to do, not a bunch of feel-good generalities, but we'll see where it goes. You have to start with the announcement and then bring people in and develop it. It literally was just announced, but I totally get what you're saying, Randy. Do we need another, I'm going to use the word bureaucracy because it's an organization and it's going to have administrators and things like that. I hope that we have the right people in the right place to guide these people into doing the right things. And so, I just feel like now is the time. We are at the tipping point, and many say beyond it, of doing something, and we need all the help we can get. Okay, let's move on. I think we've talked enough about this. And here's another topic we talk a lot about. This is homelessness. Now, I saw this headline yesterday, and I was like, what? The city's own district attorney is suing his own city. And this is Sacramento City District Attorney Tin Ho announced yesterday morning at a packed place that his office has filed a civil lawsuit against the city of Sacramento. And why is he suing? Because he is fed up with homeless encampments. I'm going to play a little bit of his response during this news report by KCRA. And you guys, when you're watching, let me know in the comments, Is this just political posturing, which he's being accused of doing? Like, this isn't doing anything. You don't know what you're talking about. We're trying everything in the kitchen sink to deal with homelessness. Or does he have a point on why he is suing the city of Sacramento? Here's the news report from KCRA.
That is when District Attorney Tin Ho announced this lawsuit against the city in a packed conference room filled with community leaders, business owners, and residents. The suit alleges the city has failed to consistently enforce the law, citing public safety issues and inaccessible sidewalks, for example. It also questions if there's a mandate from City Hall to stop police from enforcing the law when it comes to homeless encampments. The back and forth between the city and district attorney has been going on for months. The city says they are working to get things done. The DA doesn't agree. I asked him in a one-on-one interview what he hopes this suit achieves for the victims he's working with, who says they are not asking for a check. So if they're not seeking money in return, what really is it? What is to come of this suit for them and others?
What they want, what the district attorney office want, is the city to do its job. So through this lawsuit, whether it's by jury or judge, the court is going to eventually mandate the city to do what it's supposed to do, is to enforce the law, to keep our streets clean and safe. And so we're not asking for money. What we're asking for is the court to order the city to do its job. And I've laid out a series of proposals about what the city needs to do. And I sent that to the city back on August the 7th. And those are the things that I'm going to ask the court mandate upon the city to do.
Here are a few of those proposals he wants mandated, including enforcing city ordinances like sidewalk obstructions, unlawful dumping and unlawful camping, creating more safe ground sites, and sharing real-time data on shelter bed availability. Those are just a few on his list. We're live out.
So there you go. I mean, he doesn't want to see people popping up tents everywhere. He made the point of, if you're in a wheelchair and there's a bunch of tents blocking your way, you often have to go into the street, which is dangerous, right? All of these sorts of things. But at the same time, some people are saying this is just posturing and taking away attention from what we're already doing. Darrell Steinberg is the mayor of Sacramento. He said, and he was quoted as saying after the lawsuit was filed, "No local government in the Sacramento region has done more to address the crisis on our streets. 1,200 new emergency beds, ordinances to protect sidewalks, schools, and other sensitive stores, a legally binding partnership with the county, thousands of new affordable housing units, to name a few." He says, obviously, it's frustrating, but he says, frankly, we have no time for the DA's performative distraction from the hard work we all need to do together to solve this complex social problem. I don't know. I feel like when you allow encampments to crop up in areas where it's obvious they're blocking a right of way, it's dangerous because it's near traffic, police should get involved and say, look, okay, if you don't want to go to a shelter, because we have that whole problem with the law of having enough shelter beds and what have you. Okay, but you can't be here. You see, you can't pop up your tent in this location. We've had it down here, that homeless encampment called the Jungle. And they completely cleaned it out because it was, people were getting killed. There was so much crime down there. It was getting waste and stuff into the waterway. Nobody wants that there. But at the same time, they had nowhere to send these people. So what happened? They moved all the people out of the jungle. And those people ended up on our sidewalks, in front of our businesses, and in front of apartment complexes and homes. And nobody likes it there. So I don't know exactly what the solution is. But I do think that filing a civil lawsuit does send a message to the city of, look, okay, we might not have all the answers right now, but at the very least, we should be able to say, you can't pop a tent right here. Somebody's house is right here. Somebody's trying to get out of their business right here.
Right.
That's the disconnect that I've never understood with these encampments. It's like, wait a minute. I understand, maybe down by the river or off to the side or under an overpass. Okay, I get it. Not that I want them living there, but I get it. But now all of a sudden you can pop up a tent on the sidewalk where people are trying to walk? When did that become okay? I just don't understand. I really, really don't.
I once saw somebody setting up a really large tent and encampment right when they had just done it. It was right on Broadway, outside of the Broadway tunnel, right on the sidewalk adjacent to a Walgreens. And Broadway's a really busy street in San Francisco. People were having to step off the sidewalk into the street to get around this tent. And I thought, gosh, you got to get the tent. Like, if one goes up, then all of a sudden it's like an invitation for more to follow.
Absolutely.
So if the police move in and say, I'm sorry, you can't camp here, when there's only one tent, it's a lot easier than if there's a whole village, right?
Yes.
So I think they squashed that one really quick. It was just not in a safe space. But there's a lot of wide sidewalks in San Francisco where, there's room for tents and there's room for people to walk. One drugstore I want to say it's on Market Street or somewhere in the Castro, they put these planter boxes, these really big wine barrels in front of their store. All the way, there's like 20 of these wine barrels that are now planter boxes because they're trying to take up space. So there's not as much space on the sidewalk then for people to walk and for tents to be. It's a tactic to keep the homeless tents away. But I get the frustration of the DA there in Sacramento, DA, right?
Yeah.
Who's filing the suit.
And how,
because you see people, you see these court decisions, especially in San Francisco, where over and over again, the city is trying to clear away these encampments and they're told, nope, sorry, by the court, you can't do it. We're going to issue a restraining order against you, even though the city is going out, as according to what they say, and offering people a place to stay, and people are turning it down. So it's supposed to be, the rule is, if the city has a place for you to go and they've offered you somewhere to be, then they can clear the encampment whether or not you take them up on their offer.
Yes.
But even though it seems like that's happening, the court is still saying, no, you can't clear these encampments away. And so I can see that city officials are getting frustrated, as would be the people going to bat for cities around California or the country, fighting to get the streets clean and being, thwarted by the legal system, who seems to be backing homeless people in this case.
Yeah, and I think that it's because it's a myriad of things, right? One, we don't have enough housing. We don't have enough affordable housing. We don't have enough shelters. We don't have enough mental health facilities. We don't have enough drug treatment centers. So we don't have all of the infrastructure needed. And yet we tell these people, move, right? Like, go somewhere else. And so I understand that. Now, DA Ho says, in the last 7 years, which is coincidentally how long Darrell Steinberg's been mayor, he says Sacramento's unhoused population has exploded by more than 250%.
Is that
in
Steinberg's
7
fault,
years?
Though? Because it's
Of course
exploded
not.
like that all over the state of California during COVID.
But he says
So-
they have more homeless people in Sacramento than in San Francisco.
Really? Wow.
That's what they're saying. Now, that's a lot. I
That
will also say this, San Francisco compared to Sacramento, I think we're talking about different sizes and the sprawl and things like that. But at the same time, who said it? Vilma said it. What happened to vagrancy laws? What happened to, you can't, look, I know you don't have a home, but you can't stay here, kind of thing, right? And I'm not trying to be insensitive. You guys know that I'm not. But there have to be places, and it was mentioned in DA Ho's list of demands that people are talking about in the comments, organized places where they can go, right? Okay, you can pitch your tent there, over there, whether it's a fairground or an open space or a city-run property or whatever, but not in front of our businesses, not where people are trying to walk their kids to school.
Right.
And if the homeless don't understand that, then there's also a problem. Like, you have to understand, even if you're like, I'm a human being, I want to be around other people so I'm safe, right? I don't want to be under an overpass because I've been assaulted there, whatever reason, because there's so many of them. Okay, over there, not here. We're going to figure it out. We don't want to see these homeless encampments. We don't even want to see these organized homeless encampments. But until we do, you can't be in our business districts. You can't be in our neighborhoods. You can't be yelling and screaming and carrying on and doing your drugs and masturbating in front of people, because that's what they're saying. It's like these people, there's a wide range of mental illness, drug use, and what have you, and we can't have that just anywhere. So I'm interested to see how this lawsuit's and it's a civil one, and they're not asking for money. They're asking the city of Sacramento to enforce their laws. And I think that they can do it. I think that I know it's the right to sit law, whatever that law was named. I think it started in Idaho, if I'm not mistaken. And it was this lawsuit, which has really tied a lot of cities' hands, where you can't make it against the law for someone to kind of sit down, right? Because people can't walk 24 hours a day. They're human beings, and they should be allowed to sit down. But at the same time, sitting and popping a tent are two completely different things, and it's getting ridiculous out there. Kelly says, I've seen homeless set up tents on the sides of freeways up here in Sacramento. Remember, I was bitching and moaning about this one all the time. Here, I live in San Jose, right on the on-ramp to Highway 17 from Hamilton Avenue. Behind the trees, there was huge homeless encampments. Now, I am telling you, people, and this was like a long on-ramp where people are gaining speed. All you need is an accident, and you have wiped out dozens of lives. That is not humane. That is ridiculous. They finally cleared it. They actually cut away all the trees so they couldn't kind of hide behind there. I think they're growing back, though. I mean, I think there's huge trees and bushes on the side of the freeway right there. Okay, get your mind out of the gutter, KF. Stop it. Okay. And it's pitching a tent, by the way. If you're going to use analogies like that, I got mine right. You pop a tent, you pitch a tent. They're two different things. I'm just saying we got to do something. So maybe Sacramento's lawsuit will lead the way on kind of having cities say enough is enough. Not everywhere, somewhere, but not everywhere. Okay, I want to include one more thing before we do another round of Kim's news, and that has to do with TikTok. TikTok was in the news twice yesterday. One for something that I don't know why anybody is surprised. So TikTok employees here in the States, not in China, right, where ByteDance is based, here in the United States, they're frustrated because they say the company introduced a tool for tracking office attendance and then threatened disciplinary action if you did not comply with the in-person mandates. Okay. So basically what they have is there's this app called My RTO. Okay. It's built into the company's internal software. What it does is, you know, you have those badges where you swipe in and out. We've had them. It monitors the badge swipes and then brings an employee in if there's any kind of deviation on when they're supposed to be in the office.
Oh, so like if you're a work from home, but you're coming in 3 days a week now and you haven't swiped in
or
when you're not supposed to swipe in?
Exactly. What do you think about that? Because on one hand, I'm like, okay, it is kind of creepy that they're monitoring your swipes and those sorts of things. On the other hand, if you're supposed to be at work and that's a way for them to determine whether you're not at work, whether you're at work or not. I mean, they do that with our computers. They've done that with the computers. You're logged in. We see that you're logged in and this happened on your computer type of thing. Is this as creepy as the U.S. workers are making it sound? Or do you think that they're just pissed because they were trying to get around being in the office at work and now their big old employer knows that they may not be?
I think they're always trying to come up with ways to keep tabs on workers. I wish that we were at a place that everybody acted in a professional manner where when you're working, you don't need to be kept, no one needs to keep track of you because you're doing the job and you're getting the job done. And at the end of the day, if the tasks you've been given are not done, you can see. In my case, if you tell me that I need to give you a newscast every half an hour and the music starts and there's no newscast, well, it's clear that something's wrong here and I'm not doing my job. Right. Maybe not everybody has such an obvious, oh, what's happening there kind of situation. But I just feel like people need to be responsible for their own thing. And if the job isn't being done, then fire the person. Yeah. But why do you need to micromanage their day? Well, Donald, the Maine Coon Sutton, says it's not creepy. I think they have a right to verify work hours. In office work hours. That's the rub, right? It's RTO, return to office, right? My RTO, my return to office. If that's what the name of the app is called,
then it's obviously tracking your hours in the office. Now, the other thing that they were concerned about was the disciplinary aspect of the whole thing.
Right.
So one person, an expert on hybrid work, said it's increasingly rare for companies to monitor badge swipes so closely and then threaten disciplinary action on attendance. They say, we've seen folks say, this will be considered as part of your overall performance evaluation, but that's different than saying, if you don't do this, you will be disciplined. I don't know if there's that big of a difference. It's kind of like, well, it's like the progress report, the report card type of thing for a student, and then knowing they're not turning in their homework every day, right? Like I would have a conversation with my student if every day I asked for an assignment and it wasn't turned in. I wouldn't wait until the progress report or the report card or the performance evaluation to bring it up. I'd be like, yo, you're supposed to be in office Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Your badge is showing us that you're not showing up on Tuesdays. Why? And if there's a good excuse, okay. And if there's not a good excuse, then there should be disciplinary action.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, you know me. I love remote work. I think that the reason why we see so much traffic nowadays, I hear it every morning on the traffic reports on morning news. Facebook is back because there's more traffic every day. Mm-hmm. And really, you're telling me every one of those people needs to be in the office? Whatever. Yeah.
There was just a story yesterday talking about how remote workers or even hybrid workers contribute to the betterment of the environment. And it's an astronomical percentage point of, how your impact on the environment lessens when you're not, driving to work every day, using the extra energy that is, in the office, all these things.
Yeah, I feel like what you were saying about the output, about the job, about getting it done, about managing people appropriately is a good one. I think, especially in the tech world, this idea of collaboration, the incubators, those sorts of things, they're not getting that with remote work, at least in the same way. And after a few years of doing this, obviously, tech companies have said, nope, you have to come back. We at least have to have a couple of days of that. Now, do I think that's a fair compromise? I do, even though I think that, it would, if you're still able to get the job done from home at the same level, not everybody should have to come back. But a remote part-time hybrid schedule, I think, is the best compromise we're going to get in this day and age. And so we'll see. Now, TikTok, again, it's TikTok, people. They're always looking at you. If you don't think working for a company like TikTok, it means that you're going to have all the privacies of the United States, you're fooling yourself. You've made a choice. You've made that agreement. And so I don't think people should be that surprised. The other thing that TikTok was in the news for was it's launching a new tool that will help creators label AI-generated content they produce. So apparently this helps creators easily comply with their existing policy, which requires, I did not realize this, TikTok requires all manipulated content that shows realistic scenes to be labeled in a way that indicates they're fake or altered. Now, I like that idea. I'm surprised that it's kind of TikTok leading the way on this. Now, TikTok prohibits deep fakes, those videos that make it seem like Obama saying something that he doesn't say. It doesn't allow deep fakes of private figures and young people. It is okay, though, with altered images of public figures in certain contexts, such as artistic and educational purposes, but it needs to be labeled. I personally don't like any deep fakes at all. I think that when you're trying to fool somebody, it's dangerous. It's a slippery slope. Like right now, we might consider it entertainment to have an actor that looks just like Tom Cruise or manipulation of him do these videos. But pretty soon, video evidence isn't going to be evidence anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if it gets that good and this labeling doesn't happen, it's dangerous. I mean, imagine whipping out. We've talked about how much the camera has changed policing in this country, right? Yeah. Court cases, lawsuits, the video. I mean, it started with Rodney King, right? I mean, come on. We know what video evidence can do for a person's case in exonerating them. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to stand before a jury, 12 of your peers, And you know a lawyer's going to say that video has been manipulated.
Yep.
And that can be true. So that's what's so dangerous. So I do like the fact that TikTok's doing it. There was also a story that had to do with AI. Did you know this actor? I'm going to show you a picture. I pulled this picture so you know who I was talking about. Stephen Fry. Okay. He was Harry Potter actor. He revealed at a festival that his voice from the Harry Potter books was taken by AI software and replicated without his consent.
Oh.
He apparently played some of the audiobook. He said, I said not one word of that. It was a machine. Yes,
Wow.
it shocked me. He says they used my reading of the 7 volumes of the Harry Potter books. And from that data set, an AI of my voice was created and it made the new narration. He said, what you heard was not the result of a mashup. This is from a flexible, artificial voice where the words are modulated to fit the meaning of each sentence. It could therefore have me read anything from a call to storm Parliament to hard porn, all without my knowledge and without my permission. And this, what you just heard, was done without my knowledge. So I heard about it. I sent it to my agents on both sides of the Atlantic. They went ballistic and they had no idea such a thing was possible. That's the world we are barreling toward.
Scary. And of course, he doesn't get paid for that, right?
No. And that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be enough to have someone on tape or a phone call or a video evidence. If we're not labeling this stuff, if it's not required, if there's not a huge punishment for having that stuff. And I'm talking huge punishment on social media where things spread like wildfire. Okay, so this is the world we're barreling towards. And to kind of go back to Washington and politicians, they are trying right now to develop regulations for AI. And I bet you dollars to donuts, there is a significant portion of people in Washington, and I will say of all ages, I'm not even going to be ageist about this, of all ages, who do not even comprehend the scope of where AI is used right now. And that's scary. That's scary. And yet we're supposed to have legislations and safeguards and all sorts of things. The technology always moves faster than that. It always moves faster than the safeguards, right? It's insane. And, you know, and I said it yesterday or the day before, if Elon Musk and others are saying, woo, we should slow down, that tells you something about the technology. And it's frightening. And I don't like it. You know, and whether it's TikTok or whatever, they need to do it. And that's, you know, I know that the actors and the writers are trying to figure out with the whole AI, but it goes way beyond movies. It goes way beyond entertainment. And it can go into policing, and that's frightening. It's very frightening. But I am happy that, you know, TikTok is trying to lead the way on that. I think that more people need to do that. So there you go. All right. So we're going to do some headlines because I do want to get into this one story of the New York City parents. They're desperate for their kids to get into those Ivy schools. So you tell me, how far would you go to get your kid into an Ivy? And when I describe what these parents are doing already, it makes me wonder, like, isn't there just a better way to set your kid up for success? Or do you need those bragging rights? Because again, I really think that's what's spurring a lot of this nonsense. But where would you move to make sure your kid could go to an Ivy League school? Would you move to Alabama? Would you move to Kentucky? Did you even realize that that is a way to do it? That's all coming up after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
On the Nikki Medoro Show, yes, indeed, I'm Kim McAllister. Let's take a look at some of the stories we're following today. And yeah, it's smoky out there. Ooh.
Yes, exactly.
Another smoky day in the Bay Area. Wildfires up in Northern California and Oregon are sending smoke down into the Bay Area region, causing some pretty severe air quality issues. The Bay Area Air Quality Management District has once again declared an air quality advisory for the region today. Again, it's a step down from an air alert, a save the air alert. It's an air quality advisory. The people should try to stay indoors as much as possible, according to the alert. Many high schools around the region are canceling sports practices for today due to that bad air quality.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. My daughter is home. She had a little bit of a cold, and I think it was definitely exacerbated by all the smoke yesterday. And I came home, and my husband loves to keep the windows open. Shut those windows, people.
Yep. The United Auto Workers strike against the big three U.S. automakers is now in its 6th day. Nearly 13,000 auto workers remain on strike at 3 plants in Ohio, Michigan, and Missouri. That number could rise in the next couple of days. UAW President Shawn Fain announcing more workers will join the picket line Friday if a fair deal is not brought to the table. It's strong, that union. I'll tell you. Merrick Garland, Attorney General, of course, pushing back against accusations that the Justice Department is full of political bias. While testifying before the House Judiciary Committee today, Garland stated he is not the president's lawyer. This comes as Republicans have accused the DOJ of unfairly targeting President Biden's political rival, former President Trump.
Right. Sure. It's as if there wasn't a whole good case against the former president, but whatever.
Yeah, no. And I think the more they say it, maybe the more they're hoping that people believe that somehow.
Exactly.
Of course, this is how Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and I'm going to put a little asterisk by this story because I don't know how much I trust the Daily Beast. Okay. I was looking at the website. This is where the source is, the Daily Beast, but I'll tell you what they have to say. They say a draft resolution to oust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House has reportedly been found in a bathroom at the Capitol building.
Ooh.
The Daily Beast, dubious, says the motion was found by a reporter Tuesday on a baby changing table in a bathroom under the House floor. Reporter Matt Laszlo posted pictures of it on X, formerly Twitter, said the resolution was being put forth by Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, who's been calling on McCarthy recently to cave in to demands from the far right. Not clear who left the motion in the potty area or if they did it on purpose or what. Come on. What a PR stunt that is. Let me just leave. I'll just set this right here on the baby changing table to see if anybody finds it.
I wouldn't put it past Republicans that do not like McCarthy to do something like that, right? Like, just McCarthy sucks too. Like, I have never seen a less powerful person who loves to think that he has any sort of power. Like, he has no control over his party. Somebody was, I forget the name of the Republican, was talking yesterday because they blocked their own defense bill yesterday. This is the House GOP. Like, ridiculous. They're so stupid. The guy said something. He's like, we can't take yes for an answer. He's like, we can't get out of our way. And he said something to the tune of, if you keep electing these morons or these idiots, this is what's going to happen. That's a Republican talking. Yep. It's insane. This party under McCarthy, especially, nuts. It's crazy.
Well, apparently there's documentation found in the potty in the Capitol restroom that says you're right.
Put him out. Take him out anyway.
This happened today. Wild pictures from Compton.
Ooh.
Yeah, a little Cessna, a little private single-engine airplane crashed right in Compton Wednesday morning, hitting a car. It happened about 8 this morning on a road adjacent to the Compton Woodley Airport. The pilot and the driver of the vehicle reported only minor injuries. Can you believe that? Minor injuries, thank goodness. Crews were busy cleaning up about 29 gallons of spilled fuel in that area. But I guess that's a success.
Can you imagine?
No.
See, well, in all honesty, it happens often in San Jose because we have Reed Hillview, and it's right next to Capitol Expressway. No, it's it's Capitol Expressway, and near the mall. And so you'll see it. Sometimes it'll land at the mall, these small planes and everything like that. But yeah, it has to be pretty scary if you're coming eyeball to eyeball with a propeller.
I would think so. There is a new thing. Here we are, back to the masks in healthcare settings in Sonoma County. That is what's happening. Sonoma County once again requiring healthcare workers to wear masks in patient care settings. Yesterday's health order follows a rise in COVID infections locally and nationally. Cases of other respiratory illnesses like influenza also increasing. So interim Sonoma County Health Officer Dr. Karen Smith says wastewater samples are also showing a higher level of COVID in Santa Rosa and in Windsor. So at Kaiser in Santa Rosa had already popped back up with their mask mandate. And now Sonoma County wide is saying, yep, health officials, health care professionals have to go back to doing the mask again.
Well, I mean, I would say that medical professionals are one of the top people that are used to wearing masks. So yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
I think it seems like it to me. I don't know.
It's not a big deal to wear a mask, people. Get over it.
No, that's right. I mean, I know we're over it now. I mean, as far as we're not used to it anymore. We ditched the masks and we don't want to go back. But sometimes it's like toggling that light switch that
exactly
to be safe, you have to do it.
Exactly.
I don't know if you guys have Kraft cheese in your house, but they are.
I saw this story. Thank you for doing this.
They are recalling American cheese slices over a potential choking hazard. The company says nearly 84,000 individually wrapped singles were affected when one of their wrapping machines malfunctioned, making it possible that a thin strip of film could stick to the slice. Don't they always kind of? I don't know. Customers can return or exchange singles where they were purchased. I haven't bought Kraft singles in forever. Do you still buy that?
I love Kraft American cheese. I know it's not really. I know it's plastic cheese. I get it. But there is no better cheese for a grilled cheese sandwich. I don't care what the hell you say. Okay. No. American cheese is the best. And in all honesty, I can just eat slice after slice of that stuff. I know. I don't have any right now, or I would totally get a slice and eat it. But yeah, I love American cheese. Kraft American cheese, I totally eat it. And I know, I mean, I don't think it's up there with the saran wrap in the microwave, but whatever. I like it. And I like it on grilled cheese sandwiches. I like it in sandwiches.
Baby steps with you. As if I can get you not to put plastic in your microwave or your dishwasher.
I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore.
That's a success for me. I feel like I've won something.
Yes. I think of you every single time. I'm like, fudge.
No plastic in the microwave. Don't put it in the dishwasher either. Just don't do it. And so go ahead and eat your cheese. But I would argue that if you have good cheese, like a good cheddar, and you make a grilled cheese sandwich with that, and you put them side by side. Okay, it's a Friday food segment.
Okay.
If you put them side by side, did you ever? There used to be a place. It went out of business across the street from KGO that was a grilled cheese sandwich place.
Yeah, the melt,
and they had all kinds of cheese. Like you could get a Gruyere, you could get like fancy cheeses. And they had the best grilled cheese sandwiches. And so I just think if you put them next to a puny old Kraft, wrap it out of the cellophane and
it melts, and that cheese, I don't care. Okay, cheddar to me gets way too greasy when you make a sandwich out of it, and it doesn't stay melty like American cheese does. I'm sorry, you have to use the right cheese for a grilled cheese sandwich, and in my opinion, you can add other cheese, but it always has to have American cheese, Kraft.
Well, American cheese is not necessarily Kraft, right?
True, but I think
you can get real cheese that's American cheese. I don't think Kraft is actually cheese.
That's what I'm saying. It's like plastic, but that's the one that, in my opinion, makes the best grilled cheese sandwich. Fine. Friday food segment. This Friday, you make yours with whatever friggin' cheese you want to. I'll make mine. But I don't want it to get cold. I want it to be fresh. Can you take a video of yourself making it and then cutting it and then spreading it out and taking a bite? And we'll let the listeners and the viewers vote on which one looks more appetizing.
I read something, and I don't know if this is true when it comes to grilled cheese.
Okay.
And I think I saw it in a movie that using mayonnaise instead of butter to make grilled cheese sandwiches makes a better grilled cheese sandwich. I've never used mayonnaise instead of butter. I always do butter.
Well, I mean, think about it. It's like an oil egg. Like, it makes sense. I mean, I'm not like lathering in it, but yeah, definitely you can use mayonnaise. You can use butter. You can use like nonstick spray if that's what you like to use. I'm going to use Kraft American cheese singles. You can use whatever you want to make your grilled cheese. I bet you mine's going to look way more appetizing. It's going to look like a traditional. What kind of What kind of bread do you like to use for a grilled cheese sandwich?
Sourdough.
Yeah, I was going to use sourdough too, but we'll see. But there's also this like really good no, because it's too thick. You need to have the right bread to cheese ratio. Um, oh, I want to get some QB mayo. I've been trying to find it. Anyone be able to find the real sriracha? Has anybody been able to find it yet? I've been hearing hints that it's coming back. But the QB mayo, I also need to get. Maybe I'm going to go visit an Asian supermarket and see if I have it. But anyways, that's our Friday food segment coming up.
Meta is announcing that businesses can now be Meta verified. The verification program that was only available to content creators can now be used to verify business entities. It's available now on Facebook and Instagram. It'll be rolled out on WhatsApp later this year.
I mean, are they following like Exit Twitter's freaking
like
thing?
it.
Am I paying for it? Is it free?
They didn't give me a cost.
I don't want to pay for anything. You already have my data. Screw you.
I'll pay for nothing. You can get into a national park for free on Saturday. That's right. National parks that typically charge an entry fee will be free of charge to celebrate National Public Lands Day.
Nice.
Various parks will also encourage volunteers to sign up for cleanup efforts. So if you're going to the park, you get in for free. Pick up some trash while you're there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it beautiful. And lastly, the Beatles. Some never-before-heard recordings by the Beatles are up for auction. The collection of 6 tapes containing band rehearsals, unreleased albums, and interviews expected to fetch between $300,000 and $500,000.
Wow.
The auction runs through Friday at gottahaverockandroll.com. That's right. Gotta have it, baby.
A lot of Beatlemania still exists all around the world.
This report is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. If you can check out our website, theNikkiMedoroShow.com, you'll find the Patreon and PayPal links there, and we're so grateful for your support. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
And a big, big thank you to Deidre, who came in with a $20 donation to our super chat. Cheese is a food group by itself. I'll have to listen from Maui next week. Oh, aloha. Deidre, please check in from Maui. We want to know how your trip is. Thank you so much. And cheese is totally a food group. I'm telling you, if these 2 kids that I had didn't come out of my body, I don't know whose kids they are. Neither of my children eat cheese, except on pizza. And I know that sounds weird, but that's the only way they'll eat it. I eat cheese every single day. String cheese. If I have American cheese, I'll have a couple slices of American cheese. I'll do that.
It's funny that you mentioned string cheese because today is National String Cheese Day.
I'm all out. I got to go grocery shopping today anyway. So I'm going to pick up some American cheese. I'm going to pick up some bread for my grilled cheese sandwich that we're going to make, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I love cheese. I'll get a thing of polio mozzarella. Oh,
right.
And I will cut off a chunk that big and just straight up eat it. Like, I just love cheese. It is so good. So very good. But yes, thank you, Deidre, for that donation. Also, a reminder that the raffle is live. We are giving away, we are raffling off, I should say, a box of my favorite things. It's worth hundreds of dollars. Tickets are $20 each. Buy them up, snap them up, and we're going to give away the box and choose the raffle winner on the show's anniversary. It's 1-year anniversary on October 17th. To buy your tickets, go to PayPal and send money to the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. And if you win and you live close enough, I will personally deliver the box of my favorite things to you. If you're farther away, I will ship it to you. Okay. And this is the Nikki Medoro Show. Okay. We have all kinds of Munster cheese. I don't care about cholesterol. You know what? Not that I don't care about cholesterol. I shouldn't say that. I do. But life is not life without cheese.
Health be damned. Eat the cheese.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I will give up other things and never you will take the cheese from my cold, dead hand. My dad would call me a rat. Like, he's like, you're like a rat. And I'm like, yes, I love cheese. And I've never had tomato soup in my life. I have never had tomato soup. So I know that tomato soup and grilled cheese is a great combination. Mm-hmm. I like grilled cheese. And I'm not even going to get fancy schmancy with my grilled cheese competition with Kim because I want to keep it basic. But you know what I like? I like a grilled cheese, sometimes with like a very thin dill pickle inside of it, or a tomato or avocado. But I'm just going to make a basic grilled cheese because I'm going to show that stretch. I'm going to take that picture. I'm going to take that bite. It's not going to be like greasy with the cheddar cheese and all that other nonsense that Kim's going to have in hers. So there you go.
Mine's going to be Mine's going to be a little Sonoma County fancy food snob.
We'll
one.
see. We'll see. I mean, maybe people will like it because it's going to be fancy schmancy, but I'm just saying mine's going to say
My husband makes a grilled cheese sandwich that he does this to macaroni and cheese too. And some things I think just need to be as originally intended. But he'll take fancy cheese and he'll doctor it up, right? So then it becomes not just Kraft macaroni and cheese. It becomes some kind of fancy looking. It doesn't taste like you expect that you're going to eat Kraft macaroni and cheese, but it's got like all kinds of other,
seasonings and stuff.
And yeah, seasonings and cheese. And it's like, and it's not bad. It's not Kraft macaroni and cheese,
No, don't mess with my macaroni. If I'm eating something, see, I don't like when people do that. It's like they put raisins and stuffing and all kinds of crap.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
When you say, would you like some stuffing? I want it to look a certain way, right? If you tell me, would you like a macaroni and cheese? I want it to taste, I'll go with like breadcrumbs on top and, that kind of stuff. Like that's as far as I'm going to go. But don't be adding spices. Don't ever add cinnamon to stuff like that. I do not like cinnamon in savory things ever. Do not do that to me because I will hand that right back to you with no apology. Like that is gross. Do not do that. So, we'll see. I'm not making. I understand people don't like Kraft macaroni, Kraft cheese, cheese bread, mayo on the outside. Ew, you just ruined grilled cheese, cheese bread, butter or mayo on the outside. That's all. Yeah, I did not ruin. It is delicious. Okay, we'll decide this. We're going to have a contest on Friday during Friday Food. And I'm glad that we have that all figured out. Okay, I want to get to these people, though. There are some New York City families that are going to great lengths in pursuit of their child going to an Ivy League college, okay? They have spent up to $1.5 million on college counselors. But the most insane thing that I read was they are moving across the country for a better address. And it's not a better address like you're in New York City. Where else do you want to go? Many Ivy League admission officers are apparently, and I did not know this, Kim, actively recruiting in non-urban areas where there are no students currently applying. So that means talented students in those areas who do apply generally have a better shot at admissions. This one guy says, I've seen families drop out of prep schools, collegiate schools like Dalton, and move to states like Kentucky and Arkansas for high school, just so it increases the chance of acceptance at some of these Ivy League colleges.
Oh, man. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of what they're trying to do? I mean, they're not trying to get a New York family that just relocated to,
exactly.
The Appalachian Mountains or whatever. Exactly. They're trying to get people that are underrepresented. So it really kind of goes against the grain of what the whole point is.
Well, I don't know. The admissions know when they're looking at an application from Arkansas or Kentucky. I mean, I'm imagining if you go in high school, because sometimes applications will say, name your addresses in the last 5 years.
Right.
So if you go early enough, right, or whatever, or 3 years or whatever, then you don't have to include the fact that you ever lived in New York. It would just say that you've lived in Appalachia or Kentucky or Arkansas.
Oh, man. It's so hard to get into these schools. I was reading the other day, my daughter has a dream of going to the University of Michigan.
Right.
And the number of people that they accept, given the amount of applications they get, really, really low.
Oh.
So your chances are not good of getting in there. And so, you have to be just the right mix of grades and extracurriculars
and luck.
And everything. That's right. And so I can see why people are trying to better their chances when they want to go to these schools. But can you imagine uplifting your whole life? And what's also to say that you're not going to get the better education at that prep school that your parents are pulling you out of? So what? Then you go to this school that has no funding in wherever, Kentucky, right? And you are missing out on all these other opportunities. I don't know.
Here's my thing, though. You're going to spend $1.5 million on like college counselors. I would assume you have a lot of money, right? Like you're rich, right? Like nobody does that if they don't have money. So it can't be that you want your child to be rich, because I would assume if you're going to all this nonsense, you're setting your kid up, right?
Right.
Wouldn't it just be better to put like $1.5 million in, I don't know, a Roth IRA and set them up for like life? Like, that's why I'm like, this is an ego thing. It is to tell your friends, my son or daughter goes to Harvard University or fill in the blank Ivy League college, right? Because I can't imagine, what else is it? You're rich. You have the money to blow on all of this crap. So why are you doing
the whole
it?
point of going to a school like that, of going to an Ivy League school, is yes, for the education, but also for the network it provides you later on. So if you're a Stanford grad, if you're a Princeton grad, if you're a Yale alum, right, then you are, more likely to find work or to get these high paying jobs or to be included in these networks that will further your career and your success in life. It's
Right.
like an exclusive club. So in that case, it's all about the money and about setting your child up for success and making sure that they are, in a position to have those networks in place and earn that money.
I guess. This guy in this article, his name is Christopher Rim. He founded Command Education in 2015 out of his Yale dorm room after his classmates were flabbergasted that Rim, who admitted he was not the best student, got into the Ivy League school while his high school class's valedictorian did not. He said the organization he founded is to help elementary students around his home state of New Jersey to teach them about emotional intelligence and bully prevention. He was passionate about his work, and that's what helped get him in.
Yeah.
He says since he went through the admission process a decade ago, competition has intensified. At NYU, for instance, the admissions rate dropped to a mere 8% in 2027 for the class of 2027.
Check out this comment from Lori. I mean, look at what people will go to. She says, this is wrong, but I knew a woman that legally changed her name from what was an obviously Jewish name to an Hispanic name to get into college the college that she wanted, or maybe law school. It was in the 80s, she says.
And
would you change your name? Would you,
Well, no. The thing that boggles my mind, and I've expressed this before, and Kim is exactly right. The connections, the networking, especially at that higher level, maybe you can't put a price on it. But you can't tell me that every single person that goes to any of these Ivy League schools is going to have the exact same connections and what have you, and success in life, right? I mean, you see very successful people not make it, right? Like they just can't handle it and what have you. My whole thing is, if you want to go to school for something, let's say like NASA or whatever, right? Like if you want this career that requires this high education, I get it, right? You want to go to the school that's tops because getting the career job you want is very, very difficult. But what's plan B? And what kind of message are these parents giving their kids of going to these lengths of getting in? It's like, you have no chance unless I do this, this, and this, unless I bribe an SAT counselor, unless I pay all this money, unless we move to the boondocks, you're not getting in anyway. Like, what are we doing here? You think that's helping your kid? You think that's setting them up for success?
I think that rich people that have historically gone to these schools and institutions and are finding the rules maybe stacked against their kids now a little bit, are they saying, okay, you want to change the rules to let people from lower income areas in? You want to change the way that the game is played? I'll meet you there. I'll play your game with you. I'll go and live in these poor areas. I'll go and change my name. I'll go and play by your game so that I can get in and have my kid, be successful as well. Sure. I mean, I guess you have to expect that if you change the rules, that people are going to adapt.
Yeah. They're going to figure out a way to game the system. Natalie says, graduated high school in Louisiana, where graduates in the top 10% of their class got a 4-year scholarship to any in-state school. I attended a quote-unquote regular high school instead of a magnet, so I'd be in the top of my class. Is that wrong? I don't think that's wrong.
No.
I mean, it's not like I don't think you're necessarily taking anything from anybody. You can go to a regular high school. But then Jim writes in, yep, immigrants from China coming for tech jobs are marrying Chinese from Peru and Chile, left China in 1950 for the Latin last names to get into colleges. Wow.
Interesting.
I just don't feel like this is setting kids up for guaranteed success.
Yeah.
Deidre says, I know some parents who moved their kids from private high schools to El Cerrito High School so that their kids had a better chance of getting into a good college.
That's so interesting because I would have thought the opposite. You know, as a mom of a kid in a public high school, I would have thought that it's the kids from, in my region, it would be Sonoma Academy, right? Where
Right.
they tout on the admissions form that it costs, I don't know, 50 grand a year to send your kid there, that our kids that graduate from this program have a more likely of a chance of getting into the college of their choice.
Right.
And then they list all the colleges that the people in that high school have gotten into, and the graduation rate and the entry rate for, you know, people getting into these colleges. So I would have thought that it would be more successful to go to the prep school and not the school that's the lower income that, you know, doesn't have as many opportunities.
Well, it's interesting that you raise that, because when you look at, like, let's say good schools or whatever, school statistics around the country, right? Or high schools. And so you
Right.
look at the high school and they have like a 95% rate of kids going to college, and then they go to all of these tops. Okay, well,
Right.
that's good, but that's a lot of competition. Now, if you look at a lower income or lower, you know, a school in a lower income area, and let's say their college admission rate's lower, but they also then apparently are put on a list of outreach, right? So
Yeah.
if your kid is a good student already,
Yeah.
you're like, well, you'll compete less because there's fewer kids that are going to take the same track as you. Maybe they can't afford a 4-year college or what have you. And if
Right.
there's specific dedicated outreach, which I do think is a good thing, people are going to use that against the school and the admissions officers, because they're like, well, hell, go to that school. You'll ace everything because you're already a good student, and you get a different road in because they specifically want people to go to this school, because not a
Yeah.
lot of them do. So it sucks, right? It's really yucky, if you ask me, that people would do something like that.
It is, because it's, you know, you talk about giving people a leg up, or giving people that wouldn't have the opportunity to go to a school like that, or to pull
Right.
themselves out of poverty or what have you. And you're taking the spots that the school has earmarked to help people get that leg up, and you're scooping them back into
Right.
your affluent community. It doesn't feel right to me.
No, it doesn't feel right. And again, and then also, just to put a
Said
final
as a
point on,
mom who wants their kid to get into a good college, right?
well, what college? Do you have a specific college that you want your child to go to?
I don't, but she wants to go to U of M.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a good college, but that's on her. I mean,
Yeah.
it's her decision to work towards it, understand the competition. That's different
right.
than a parent saying, we're moving the family because you're getting into an Ivy League, right?
Right.
I mean, there's a difference there. If my
Yeah.
kid says, it's my dream, and I have a mom friend whose son, the University of Oregon, right? Is that the Ducks?
Yeah.
Oregon Okay. Yeah, that's where he's wanted to go forever. And he had to kind of change his I think he's still applying, but obviously he has B schools. But yeah, it's just, you can want to go there as long as you're also setting your kid up with a plan B, C, D, because competition in it's nothing on you. But to kind of, I don't know, work the system
Yep.
just because you can and you have the means to, moving to Kentucky or Arkansas to get it is a bit gross. It's just because those people out there that live in Arkansas are missing out on the opportunity that you're taking from them when you have the means, obviously, to live life a different way. And so I just think the whole thing is gross. And again, it's this brainwashing, in my opinion, that we've had happen over the last few generations. And I will say, starting with the boomers, pounding into people's heads, you have to go to college,
Yep.
don't go into the trades, the military is for people that just don't know what to do with their lives, those sorts of things. It's brainwashed us into thinking you have to go down this path or you won't have success, even though there's so many examples of people being successful in life without doing that path. And so we really need to get away from it. Community college, taking that track in, I think is a really great idea. And then go for it and go for what you want. And if you don't get it, definitely have a different
Well, they
plan.
have this new pilot program I was reading about at UCLA that they are going to start prioritizing transfer admissions from community colleges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because they, this whole idea of freshman admissions, how many people are denied, also ramping up that whole craziness surrounding freshman admissions. If you let people take a breath, figure out what they really want to do. Figure out if that school is even for them. Right? I mean, you can be like, I want to go to USC. I want to go to USC. I want to go to UCLA. Why do you want to go to UCLA? Is it because you've heard about UCLA forever? Is it because that rich person or celebrity went there and you want to be just like them? Why? What do you want to take there? Why is it necessary to get the degree from there? Because maybe it is and maybe it isn't, right? Maybe it's just a branding thing. Figure it out, because you're going to be spending buku bucks if you go to some of these colleges and don't have a scholarship or something to help you. And then where do you end up? You end up graduating, yes, from the college that you wanted to, overloaded with debt and with no job prospects because you really didn't know what you wanted to do when you went. So take a deep breath, people. It'll be okay.
What does Marley have a top school that she's interested in yet?
No. And we talk about it. You know, she just started high school.
Right.
And you're talking to someone who went to 3 different colleges, including a community college, and a father that did not go to college at all. So it's not like we have any sort of like allegiance. Thank you, to a specific college or anything like that. So no. And again, you guys know it. I am a huge pusher of community college. If she wants to go to a 4-year college out the gate, you better know, what you want to do and all that sort of thing. If not, community college, especially here in California, where some are free for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Hell freaking yes. Thank you.
I'm pretty close to my niece, my sister's daughter. And she is the student. Like, she's just really on top of it. She has this rare combination of not only being really smart, but also being really ambitious. Usually it's one or the other. Yes. I'm ambitious, but I don't have anything to back it up, or I'm really smart and I could care less, right? But she's got it together, this one, and she wants to work in with animals. That's her thing.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so she's done all this volunteer work at Wild Care of Marin. As a matter of fact, she was voted like the teen volunteer of the year there. She wants to be a vet. And so one of the top vet schools is an Ivy League school. Her 2 top schools, either Cornell or UC Davis.
Nice.
So she applied to Cornell early admission. And we're all now waiting on pins and needles to see if she gets into Cornell. Now, if she went to community college and then went to Cornell, I mean, what would be wrong with that? But That's not, like, I think when you look at a kid who has had this ambition, who has tried their hardest, who has tried to achieve, I think that would feel like failure to her. And it wouldn't to me, but I think it would to her.
Why do you think it would? I mean, do you think that it's just because it's not, I mean, okay, let's take history out of it.
Right.
If the first 2 years of college, whether it's at a university or a community college, but if the first was not called college, but it was K through 14, right? The mentality of it would just be like, oh, I'm just continuing high school. I'm getting these classes because now I'm going to go to this college for 2 to 3 years to get my degree. It's what and I'm not saying that this is for your niece, but it's what we tell ourselves and what we tell our kids. Yeah. This is when college starts, or this is when your GE starts. This is where you're going to try new things. You're going to make sure that you really want to go into it. How many times do you hear someone say, out of high school, I really wanted to do X, and then I started taking the classes, and you're like, uh-oh. I'm not enjoying this. I don't want to know. I don't want this to be my life. Like, I might have liked, let's just say, animals, but do I really want to do this? It's like, so that's the great thing about a GE, and is you can explore it and you can change your mind, and it doesn't cost you tens of thousands of dollars.
But I think if you have this goal you set for yourself and you've really worked toward it,
right,
and that's what you want. And I will say that
but she'll still get a degree from Cornell. She'll still get that goal.
Right. But I will say that she already has her first 2 years of college completed because she's been taking community college classes during high school.
Well, then
so when she transfers, she'll be a freshman technically, but she'll have all these classes already under her belt.
Then there you go. So and these classes, I'm assuming, apply to what she wants to do, or are they just like AP kind of things?
Another really good vet school, not to make it all about me and my family, but another really good vet school is UC Davis, right?
Yeah.
And so I think they're the top in the country, actually. And so if she went there, then they would accept all of her California community college credits and she would enter as a junior. But if she got into Cornell and went there, not everything is applicable. And so they might take half the classes as that she has taken, that she's done at the community college level. And so then she would enter as a sophomore. Yeah.
Well, she's applying to both, though, right?
Well, here's how early admission works, and I didn't know this. You can only apply to one for early admission. That's it.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that.
So and a lot of times if you apply and they take you, before you even know whether you got into any other colleges, you have to tell them yes
Yes
or
or
no.
no. Yeah, absolutely.
And once you do it, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Because your parents have to or you or whomever is paying have to cough up the money now to lock in your place, your early admission spot for that school.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know
Now,
whether she gets in.
And Vicky says in community college, their classmates are not as advanced as they would be in a fine college. There are a lot of remedial students not up to college level. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree that the range of students at community college is wide, but that doesn't mean they're all remedial students. And I think that it's not fair to generalize all community college students in that way, because not everybody can afford to go to a 4-year university and are extremely smart. Right. And couldn't get the scholarship because maybe their parents make too much money. There's a huge bubble in, in those sorts of scholarships. And I just feel like, if you're just doing your GE to begin with, you can be smart. You can be smarter than a lot of the people around you. But again, it's cheaper and it gives you the freedom to try new things, which is what I like. I think deciding what you want to do with your life, if you don't know already at 17, 18 years old, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
It really is.
Okay, I do want to let you guys know that I reached out to Emily Hoven. She's with the Chronicles editorial board. We're trying to get her on. She's going on vacation this week. So hopefully next week we will be able to get her on. She has a lot of things about Alameda County's DA. We have to talk about ballot reform and all sorts of topics. I'm trying to get her on. Tomorrow, Jefferson Graham, we're going to be talking about the charging of the new iPhone. I don't know if we talked about that last time with Jefferson Graham.
With that weird new cable?
It's not just the new cable. It's the iPhone. It's how long it will allow your phone to be charged, what percentage, and the science behind all that. So he'll be joining us tomorrow. Send me your grilled cheese recipes with American cheese. Give Kim some help because she's going to lose our Friday food segment coming up this week. Click the thumbs up button, please. Sign up to be a monthly Patreon subscriber. Become an official Medorable, TheNikkiMedoroShow.com. Sign up for our raffle at PayPal, and the PayPal email is TheNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. We will talk tomorrow. Stay for Mark Thompson and the After Party Live. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.